My name is Roland Dahlin, and I am the CEO of Trailer Consultation. We are the producer of TrailerWIN program. Our company has been making this application since 1982, and it has been on the market a very long time. Today our customers are all over the world. We have both manufacturers and small companies, bodybuilders, trailer builders, all kind of companies. TrailerWIN program is not only designed for trailer and truck calculation, it has also a lot of programs that is connected. For example, CraneWIN for crane stability calculation. We have FrameWIN for subframe calculation, and CornerWIN for advanced turning simulations, where we can see both static and a lot of different simulation options. For example, 180 degrees, 12.5 meter turning. So I will start with selecting what type I want to calculate. I will put this highlighter on so you can better see what I'm doing. So we can calculate trucks and different types of trailer, and we can also make combinations of all these. We start to select the truck, and there you can see a long list of models, and they are grouped in different years depending on when they have been set out on the market. And as you can see, we have here a very long list, so it's almost all what is produced in the market. I will start with, for example, now a new MAN, and we select here different models that are in production in 2021, and you can see that the MAN models are also for other truck markets. We have also for Euro 2 and for China 6 and those models. So I select the model, and then I select Wheelbase, and you can see different options of cabins also here. And different models. And here we can see all the data for the chassis, and these all data comes from our database. So just by selecting a model, you get all this data automatically. Everything of this can be modified. So if you have some special model, you can also edit the measures and build up a model that meets your requirement. Now when we have selected the model and the wheelbase, then we have the drawing of the chassis. We have a detailed cab drawing. We have a measure for front overhang. We have also weights unloaded. We have also max allowed weight for this model. So everything comes from the database. Now we can start to add some body on this, and I start to click on the body button, and we find here fifth wheel. We have different type of body, box body, open body, side door, and so on. We have also a list of standard bodies that are made from drawings, and they can have all information like weight and center of gravity and also the load point. But we select here standard box body, next window, we get the data for that one. And we have a body length that the program has already calculated for us. And TrailerWIN calculates the body length to get maximum load on rear axle. So we can use as much load as possible when it's evenly loaded. We go to next window, and then we get a question about drawbar. We want to have a trailer behind, and we have different standard positions of the drawbar, but we can also here give a value where we want it to be. We have also possibility to put underrun protection and also position how deep it will be. So now when we have finished, we have a truck, we have a body on it, and we have already calculated what will be the maximum load that we can take on this chassis. We can see here the empty weight with the body on, and we can also see what the loaded situation will look like, how much we have on the front wheel and how much we have the rear bogie, and what is the maximum allowed. We can continue to add more equipment to the truck. We can add, for example, a cooling unit. So we go to Devices menu, and here we have a lot of different equipment, and we select from the cooling unit. We have many different manufacturers here. We have also a lot of different models. So now we have a cooling unit. We can see directly from the picture that this will not work. It will go into the cabin. So you can visually also directly see what is going to work and what is not. We can easily modify. We can drag the whole body rearwards by clicking on the mouse and dragging it rearwards. We can edit height of the body by grabbing this handle and lifting. We can also change length of the body, double clicking on the red hotspot measure, and then give a new value, and then we have entered a new body length for it. And every time we do something, the program is calculating the weights automatically. So we can see here now directly that we have too much load on the rear. So this makes it more safe to do changes and to try out things, because you can all the time see what is happening. You get warning if the chassis will get too high, or if you have other problems with the truck and that you need to focus on. If we want, we can change the wheelbase for this. We go back to the chassis window. We can either select a new wheelbase here. It's also possible to directly here input a new value. And then we have a longer chassis, and we can see how it affects on the weight calculation and the actual load on front and rear end. We can look a little bit more on the equipment list what we have here. We have cranes, we have tippers, we have hook lift, cooling units that we are working on right now. We have also stabilizer legs. We have different types of tanks and toolboxes. We have Moffett trucks. We have tailgate lifters. We can put a tailgate lifter here also. Choose this type of body. I select the model. And as you can see, when I select the model, we have detailed drawing. We have also all data for it. We have weight, center of gravity, length, and everything. So this is all in the program. We can see also all the loads that we have, or all the weights that we have on the chassis in this weight table. Here we can see first the chassis weight, front and rear. We have driver. We have body, how much the total weight. We have the cooling unit. We have the rear tailgate lifter. We have towing coupling, and here is a very easy to see what is making the load on front and rear axle. We can also now, when we have this, add a trailer. We have a trailer coupling already. Then we go to the trailer menu. And here we can see different types of drawbar trailer from 2 to 6 axle. And we have also with different options with steering. We have, for example, here we have last steered. We have second front steered, and so on. And this is for many of these models. We can select here now one that have 5 axles, and the last one is steer axle. Then we select here also what type of body, and I select here body with doors. We have here measure for the trailer. This we can modify due to our specifications and what we want to have. TrailerWIN has now made a standard trailer for this combination. We can see here also the weights and also the max allowed weight for the axle groups. For the trailer, we have also possibility to make all kind of equipment. We have also special devices menu where we have a lot of different useful equipment that is used on trucks and trailers. Here we have, for example, toolboxes. You can easily, by the mouse, just click and drag it to the position where we want to have it. And everything that we put on here has a predefined weight. We have also, when we go to the load window, we have by default one single load that we put on truck or a trailer, but we can also specify a special load if we want to have, for example, 26 ton, and calculate how it will look if we have center of gravity in a certain position of the trailer. And then we can do a weight calculation for that exact transport. In the load window, there is also a possibility to use boxes to illustrate, and then you can modify the weight by dragging with the mouse. You can move it on the body, and that way make a load that looks more realistic and can be taking up space on on the trailer or on the truck. Another option that we have is to use pictures instead of boxes and arrow. And here we have a lot of different type of loads that can be used. For example, we have some diggers, we have boats, we have cars. So then you can put on a load with a picture, and then you can give position where it will be placed, and also the center of gravity and the weight. And that way build up a special transport situation. This is useful also for companies that are making heavy transport, so they can see where to put the load in the transport to get best load share. Now we can see also on turning. In TrailerWIN we have possibility to see static turning picture, and this is showing the minimum radius what the combination will go into if you are driving many revolutions in a circle. And in this case it's 12.5 meters, but we can also calculate with other radius if we want. And this is a turning picture that is many times used for registration of the vehicles, because if we have enough radius for the trailer in this static situation, it will never be a problem in the real life, because all the traffic roundabouts and crossings are designed to cope with this type of vehicle. We have also another useful thing here in TrailerWIN, and that is load curve. And the load curve is showing where the center of gravity of the load should be positioned on the body to have the best weight share. And if we are moving the load, for example, in this case, further from the best position, that is here where we have the highest load, we see how much load we can take. For example, in this point, we can take 12 tons, and the exact position for where I am can be seen in this coordinate window, because this is showing on where we have the mouse cursor. So we can check on specific point. The first measure is showing distance from front of the body, and the second is showing the load capacity. We can also see on deloading, we imagine that we have a body full with different types of pallets and load, and we start to unload it from the rear end. What is happening there if we are looking at the maximum front axle weight when it's fully loaded at 100%? We have around 7,000 kilograms. But when we are starting to take away load from the rear end, we are coming to a position where we have around 8,500 kilograms on the front axle, because the load that has been removed was lightening the front axle weight in the beginning, but in this point we have the maximum front axle weight when everything is on the front axle. Even if we have only 60% of the load capacity left. We can activate axle weights, and then we can look in this load curve window. Now when I activate the axle weight, we can see when we are loading to the max due to this curve, that the front axle weight will reach the max limit up to this point. And after this point, it will be the rear axle weight that will be the limiting factor here in the load capacity. So with quite few mouse clicks and quickly done, we have got a lot of information about this truck and this trailer. And this is helping a lot when we are sitting with the customer and he has some ideas what he wants to build. Then we can see how will it work, and we can avoid problems in an early stage before we are making any mechanical work on the chassis. While we are doing this, we can see here that it's coming all kind of warnings here, and we have now selected here the EU regulations, and this will not be accepted in Europe. We have too high both truck and trailer. We have too big total length for this combination, and so on. Now when we have checked the static turning picture, we can also look in CornerWIN what more we can do there. And I jump over to CornerWIN, and then we see the same turning picture that we had in TrailerWIN, the static turning picture. We can also see all the dimensions, but here we see dimensions to turning points. So we can see when we have a steer axle at the rear, the steering point for the trailer will be between first and second axle. All the technical data, they come directly from TrailerWIN, so we don't need to input anything again. Everything comes automatically. But here they can also be edited if we want to make some checks to see how it will affect on the turning. We can open up the window with different corner modes. Here we can see many different standards. Australian red path, we have 90 degrees, 120 degrees, 180 degrees turning, and so on. We have also here the Finnish regulation and the regulation for special transport, where we are turning in 16.5 meters. So they are all predefined here. We can look what it will be if we look at 108 turning, making a U-turn. And we check the value, what we have the inner radius in the static picture. That means that we are driving many turns in the same roundabout. And compare it what we will get if we are simulating 180 degree U-turn. So in the beginning, the truck and the trailer will be set in the start position. We press the go button, and the program will start to simulate turning in 180 degrees. And with each calculation, it's check what will be the position for the combination truck and trailer, and also taking into account the turning axle. So here we can see that the minimum radius that the trailer will go is 6,167. So it will not go into this static minimum in real traffic, 5,956. We can also compare if we drive a whole revolution and see what happens. Now we are driving 360 degrees. The program is calculating the movement of the parts all the time. And now when we come in the closest position, 5962, so even if we drive a whole revolution, we will not come as close as we have in the static picture. So this gives a more precise picture of how it will act in the real life when you're driving, and where you can pass with this combination. In CornerWIN there is also another interesting feature. We have different traffic situations that we can use. We have some intersections of streets where we can define all the lanes separately. We have traffic circles, different types. We have also a road with some curves. We have also some streets with different types of crossings. And then we have also some examples of some building sites that we can use. Or then we can choose a DXF file and take that as simulation. And here we have, for example, one area that is made for a simulation. I will choose here a more clear picture so we can all see what we are doing. And this is now a situation of a loading area. And this was in Germany, where they have a loading space in the backside of a market, and they had made plans for a narrow street. We can test with this combination. We do mouse clicks and point with the direction where we want to have it. So it's like playing with a small car and pulling it. And the program is all the time calculating where the trailer will follow. We can here see that it will be quite narrow. Let's see if we can make it. Here will be quite sharp turn. And we will use maximum of these curves. But now we can already see that the trailer will cross over the gate where we come in. So it's not possible to come into this area. Now we can stop it, and then we can do a playback. Then we can see actually how it is driving in this. So with this TrailerWIN software, you can also do advanced simulations and help also companies building their parking sites and loading areas to let long vehicles pass into these and to avoid problems and easily show them how much space a truck and trailer will need for this. Now we have looked at a combination with one trailer, but in TrailerWIN you can also add a second trailer. And, here we will now open a second trailer to this. And here we have then measures for the second trailer. And when we are having this kind of combinations, Here we have a 35-meter combination with 2 trailers. Then it's no need to look at any static turning picture anymore because it will never work. Then you need to check the turning in some simulation program. And for example, for this kind of combination, in Finland we are using 120-degree turning and the same 12.5 meter outer circle. The program is making the turn, calculating where the first and the second trailer will be, and then it shows at the end what will be the inner circle, the minimum radius. 4,600 millimeters will be the second trailer minimum radius. In CornerWIN, we have also possibility to find some standard combinations, and these are meant more for architects and those that are planning streets. But here we can also find 3-trailer combinations. We have B triple. We have AB triple combinations with a full rubber trailer and a fifth wheel, and then a semi-trailer at the end. And we have also C-train combination, where we have 2 semi-trailers and then center axle trailer at the rear. And these combinations can be used to build up simulation models to see how it will work with different wheelbases and lengths of the trailer. And here we can see the radius for all 3 trailers, what will be the minimum. What more we have in TrailerWIN? We have, of course, possibility to print different types of documents. We can print out a picture. It will be like a drawing, what we see on the screen. We can also print a data sheet, and the data sheet will show you all the technical data. I can preview them in the memo window also. So here we have all the data for the chassis. Then we have also data for the trailer, weight calculation, and all the warnings and so on. We have also possibility to do weights, center of gravity calculations for the truck. We can print out data sheet with a small drawing and technical data underneath, turning window, and so on. We can also export the drawing that we have on the calculation into a DXF file to continue working it in CAD programs. So this is very useful when you want to add more details and make some more advanced drawings for the team that is producing it. You can also take the picture on the clipboard and put it on offers for the customers or technical data that you want to present in a separate documentation. You can select if you want to have measures and weights on the picture. Here we have removed all the measures. We are leaving only weights, or we can also remove weights also and have a clean picture.
Sir, is it all for the TrailerWIN software, sir? This is what exactly we can do?
This is now the biggest and the most important feature. In the program there is, of course, many other features as well. Is it something special that you want me to go through? I can do that also.
Sir, I have some set of questions with you, sir. Can I share it with you, sir? So
Yes.
as being a manufacturer, I got any inquiry that I have to bolt a tipper on say any of specific of chases, any of the chases. Suppose the customer says on Ashok Leyland 3520. Then the biggest problem which comes to me is that what are the overall dimensions of that vehicle? Means what is the wheel base, what is the width, what is the length, what are the heights, and what is the physical structure. Now for this I have to do the two things. The first thing is that whether I should go to the chassis and measure the dimension to create my drawings, or I should use some of my past experiences in that. Then this software, how it helps us to get that relevant data regarding information about chassis for any means if any of the chassis comes to us, then how it can help us to decide the things, sir.
Yep. Okay, so we will build a chassis with a hook lift. I will choose here another chassis this time. We can take a smaller one. Four by two. Okay. So here we have selected the chassis, and as you can see, we get automatically the chassis weight, front and rear, wheelbase, everything. This is in the database.
Okay,
Then we go.
it means
Yeah,
that we are having a predefined database with us where the all details of chases are preloaded. So if we have to select any of the chases, we can select it with the help of this this window from here.
exactly. Yep, yep. Here we add all the time new chassis, and if some chassis is missing, we can do it very quickly and also send it in a package that can be installed easily in the program.
We can also install that chases in this software, sir. Can we install that chases?
You only send the drawing and the technical data to us, and then we can add it and send it back very quickly, and then you
Okay, okay,
added can add it to the program.
okay, okay.
I see
It
that
means
we
that
have
we,
here. Yeah,
yeah, please, sir.
sorry. Yeah. Did
Piyush,
we?
Sir.
Yep.
yeah, we are working on the chassis drawing for Indian BS6 compatibility for all the manufacturers. So very soon we will have all the data for Tata, Ashok Leyland, and all other chassis manufacturer. So those will be basically BS6 updated version will be available. Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Right.
My second question is, sir, once we get the chassis dimensions, we know that we have to build one tipper or we have to build one container or whatever is your as a application. Then the biggest problem which comes in front of us to define its height and its width. Generally, what we do, we take you can say a one thumb rule that whatever the width of the cabin, it must be the width of the body. So any kind of the tool which is present here and help us to select the width, height, and all kind of that things. So,
Yeah. We can start building up a hook lift on this one, and I will show you a little bit what TrailerWIN can do with hook lifts. We have here many different brands, different sizes for all type of vehicles, also light trucks and heavy trucks. We have skip loaders, hook lifts, and I will try to find something that could be suitable for this chassis. I think this is a little bit heavy for this one, but it will fit here in the chassis.
So can we do one thing? Can we see that hook lift and chassis mounted application here on the screen, that how it is working, so that we can relate the question with the that what exactly it can do, sir?
Yes, we have now the hook lift on here on the chassis, and now we can add also a body on this hook lift, and the body will be placed on top of the hook lift. We don't need any trailer coupling in this case. And now when we have a hook lift and a body on that, we can see what load we can take, because the placement of the body will then be decided by the hook lift, where the hook will be. And now we have also one other thing that we can see. We can see the front axle in the lifting body situation. When we are pulling on the hook body on the hook lift, and all the weight is on the rear end of the roll, or the midpoint of the roll. Then we have the maximum weight on the rear axle and the minimum weight on the front axle. So we can see that we have about 10,200 kilogram rear axle weight in this situation when we're pulling on a fully loaded body on this hook lift. We can also have a high type of body on the hook lift, and then we can do measures directly on the TrailerWIN picture to see, for example, if you want to check how high this will be, we can put the cursor on the ground level, press the left button, and we can see in the coordinate window that is up here how much we have moved in horizontal and vertical direction. So we can see that this is on 2,850 millimeters from the ground. So this can be very useful for calculating also heights for different type of bodies that we put on a hook lift. What you are looking at? What you want to see about the hook lift? Okay, so what I did, I selected here a hook lift. We have a lot of different models, different brands, and all these have all the technical data in our database. So that means that all will come in the program. You just select the model and you get everything from there. You don't need to find any technical specifications or look in some data sheet. Then we put a body on, and we can of course here also modify dimension of the body. We can also change height of the body. And then when we don't want to have any trailer coupling in this case, and then when we have body on the hook lift, it knows what will be the height from the chassis frame where the body will stay on the hook lift, and we can calculate the height of this body when it's hooked onto the hook lift. And when we look at this coordinate window, put the cursor on the ground level, press the left mouse button, and then when we are moving up to this top of the body, we can see that the height is now on 3.3 meter from the ground. So this way we can easily make quickly a measure to see how high it will be. And as I explained also, the body lifting situation, when all the body weight is on the roll here, and we are lifting it on, we will have less weight on the front axle because it will be acting on this loading roll here. And on the rear axle, we have 10,191 kilogram in this situation. We can also see the load capacity what we can take on the hook lift body. Okay, I can show also another combination when we are building a truck with a crane. So, do you have any questions about this hook lift?
Okay, good afternoon, Mr. Roland. This is regarding the full trailer. Is there any option of axle lift in the trailer, which we can show here?
Yeah, it is. And I will build up a truck with a trailer, and then I will show the axle lift function that we have.
If you can use a semi-trailer, would be much better for Indian market. Yeah, for everyone. Yeah.
Yes, that is no problem. We will take another shot this time. For example, we can select the Volvo.
Yeah, 4x2 would be perfect. Yeah, single axle. Yeah.
Yes, and then we put here a fifth wheel. And when we have selected a fifth wheel in TrailerWIN, we get the semi-trailer option. And here we can have semi-trailers with 1 to 4 axles with different options of steering axles. We can select here a 3-axle with fixed axle, and we select what type of body. So here we have now the semi-trailer combination. If we want to make a lift axle on the trailer, we can do this in trailer data menu, where we can define and put in this, for example, that the first axle on the trailer will be a lift axle. Then we put the 1 here. And when we do that, we will get activated this axle lifted checkbox at the top. So we can lift up the axle. Program is recalculating the weight share between truck and trailer. And the load center will be between second and third axle on the semi-trailer. Now we can do the static turning picture, and we can see that this arrow is always pointing to the turning point of the trailer, and we can see that this axle is lifted, so the turning point will come between second and third axle. This same situation will also appear in CornerWIN. When we jump to CornerWIN, we have the same static picture. We can do simulation with the axles lifted. So when I do this simulation, the program is calculated with this axle not on the ground. So the turning point will be in the center of the rear 2 axles that we can also see here in this window. This cross mark is showing the turning point.
Awesome, great. Mr. Roland, second question was related to the CornerWIN. The maximum radius and the minimum radius, can we edit it, or it's a system built?
We can edit it, because if we want, for example, to make calculations for 180 degrees, you can see that these fields, we can write whatever we want here. We can have an outer radius of 14.5 meters. We can have street width, we can change to 12.5. And when we do the simulation, the program is calculating turning in that kind of circle. 14.5 meter outer radius, and inner radius will be 2 meters, and we have 12.5 meter street width.
Okay. Because in India we have maximum outer radius as 13.7, I hope. Right, Prabhakar sir? It's 13.7 it seems.
Yeah, yeah. And that we can do also for the static picture.
Yeah.
We want to have 13.7 and the inner radius, is that 5 and 3? Or do we have some other?
We have 5.2, 1 or 2, 5.2 it seems. Yeah.
Yeah, 5.2. So then we can see a static picture with those
Great.
characteristics, 13.7, 5 and 2. So this is useful for many different markets and also for many type of transports, because special transport usually have also special regulations depending on how long they are.
Okay. And the maximum and minimum, these steering angles of the tractor, is it standard? And again, it can be changed as per required, because normally we don't get this input from the truck manufacturers.
Yeah. The maximum steering angles can be given by putting values here in the maximum for inner wheel and maximum for outer wheel. But the only situation where this really comes into a problem is when we are doing calculation for minimum turning radius for the truck.
Yeah.
This is the only way that you can use the maximum steering on a truck, not when you are driving in any simulation, because all the manufacturers build trucks that can fill the 12.5 meter minimum radius. So
Yeah.
when we are calculating the minimum turning, then we have possibility, and we can also here change, and we can see how it will affect on the turning radius. We give angles separately for inner wheel and outer wheel, and the program is calculating then minimum turning radius.
Okay. Great. Thanks, Mr. Roland. I think Mr. Venkateshwar Rao from Volvo Trucks wants to.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Roland. Regarding the semi-trailer, aerodynamic shape design for trailers are it's actually important for the day. So providing wind deflector on truck cabin up, how it will change the behavior of trailer design? That means wind effect on trailer. Will it this software will be able to address that, or any change in wind reflected angle? What design change to be made in trailers? This software addresses that. If it is this we want to know.
We can add wind deflectors here on the drawings also, but the program does not calculate the wind forces and such things.
Okay.
But when we are looking in the cab view, we have, for some manufacturers, we have standard spoilers that are in the drawing, but not for all. It depends on how the drawing comes to us. I will choose another chassis so we can see. We click on the chassis menu, and then we get back to the selection window. We select here MAN. We can take a bigger one, for example, TGS, and a 4x2 rattelanhängare. Yeah, so now you can see that we have standard spoiler from MAN, and we can add it on the picture if we want to have spoiler on it.
Okay.
And that is of course.
Sorry, yeah. So by adding that, how the wind force get changed? Is it on a trailer? Is it possible to change the design of trailer with the help of the software which you are proposing? Be it is a wind deflector. Also, other point between prime mover and trailer, there is a gap. So providing spoilers that also sideway both the sides. So wind force will come down on trailers. It will also support for better aerodynamism. So the software will support on that, providing this how the wind force is going to reduce on trailers.
No, as I said, the program does not calculate any wind forces, so that is not in the program. We can add them to show how it will be, and we can get also the exact positions where they will be. So, for example, if we have a cooling unit on a truck, we can see if the wind deflector will cut into this. But wind forces can't be calculated in TrailerWIN, so that is not in the program. We have a software for that is called Driveline Win.
Driveline Win.
Yeah, and for that you can do some calculations for wind forces. But that is program is made for defining what type of gearbox and rear axle ratio we need to have, what type of tire to get the best climbing force, and also that you can calculate what the wind force can be when you are driving. Do we have more questions about this semi-trailer, or we continue?
Yes, Mr. Roland. One more question from my side. Is it possible to check the pitching angle of fifth wheel tractor, the maximum tilting angle of the fifth wheel, so that we can check the cornering, whether the semi-trailer is falling with tractor or not? Yeah. Here, is it possible to tilt the tractor from the kingpin point?
No. It always shows in vertical measures, so you can't tilt the trailer down or up or the truck. So this is
static
every time showing vertical measures.
Okay. Mr. Roland, I have one more question regarding semi-trailer. See, the load on rear axle of the prime mover from trailer, how much load is getting transmitted to rear axle of the truck, that is prime mover? Is this software is up to date? If you are moving trailer, it will backside, how it varies, and if you are moving from there to front side towards prime mover, how the load ratio will change on truck rear axle. Is there anything this software will be able to provide?
Yep, it is. And if we look here on the picture, we can see on top of the fifth wheel we have a load arrow. That is showing what is the empty weight of the trailer and the loaded weight on the trailer that will affect on the fifth wheel. And here we now have the load at the center of the trailer. And if I move this forward, we can see that the load on the fifth wheel will increase and the rear axle weight will also increase. And we can also, to illustrate, I said center axle trailer at the rear as a second trailer, and the load from the last center axle trailer is calculated all the way to the truck. So if we now see when we have load center for the center axle trailers in the middle, we have 15,653 kilogram on the truck. But if this load is moved forward, the program is calculating the reaction on the drawbar coupling and also how it will affect on the rear axle weight on the truck. So it can calculate through whole the combination, the weight share.
Okay, it is same for this drawbar, even for dolly also, when we provide in between dolly, both trailers, that time also the load sharing will same, or it will increase on rear axle of the truck?
When we have a dolly, then we have usually drawbar that is on an axle, and in that case, we don't have any weight transfer from the dolly to the coupling. And that is how the program is calculating it. Only for center axle trailers, when we usually can have quite big load on the drawbar, up to 1,000 kilograms, then we can get quite big effect on the weight share on the whole combination. Okay, I can.
Thanks.
Yes, you're welcome. I can show you one more calculation, and we will do a truck with a crane, and then we will look a little bit in TrailerWIN how it looks. I just select here a random model. Then we go to the equipment menu and select a crane, and here you can see different brands, and these data behind the cranes are very complete. We have all the data on the lifting situation, we have outreach position and such things. So these data have come directly from the truck manufacturers to us. I select here the crane, and then we can select what position we want to have it on when we are driving on the street, the transport position. And usually it's a folded position, but for forest cranes and such things, we usually have them in open position on the truck. We have different type of support legs, and these comes from the crane manufacturers. We have the weight difference for these. So if you select the bigger stabilizer, we automatically get some more weight on it. The program knows what is the first spot that it should put it, depending on the first the rear end of the body of the rear end of the cabin of the truck. So now we have added the crane. Then we can add an open body on it, that we usually also have. We select drawbar also, and the program knows that we have a crane and how much space it will take, so it will automatically put the body behind the crane. So with a few mouse clicks, we have already built up a chassis with a crane, and we have a body on it that has also been optimized for the wheelbase that we have selected. So now we can go into TrailerWIN software. In TrailerWIN software, we can see the stability for this. I will zoom out a little bit. So we have here the front axle, the up, and the center of the diagram is on the crane turning point, where the boom is turning. We can see the stabilizer legs, and we can see also the stability chart. We have set a minimum of 1.4 as safety factor. And the program is showing what is the stability to all directions around this chassis. We can go back, and then we can select wider stabilizer, choose the widest. We get a new weight calculation with these more heavy stabilizers automatically. We jump over to TrailerWIN, and then we can see how it will affect on stability. So we can see here that it will fix almost all of our problems. It's like bigger stabilizers. We still have problems to the front. So we can here add front stabilizer. We go back to TrailerWIN, the devices menu. We jump into stabilizer and select front from the list. We add them to the chassis. We add it to the weight calculation automatically. And when we jump into CornerWIN, we can see the stability with extra front stabilizer. So this makes it very easy to find out what type of crane and if it's needed with extra stabilizer for the customer, make it safe. So the link between TrailerWIN and CraneWIN is built so you don't need to put any data twice. You can get everything automatically from one program to other. Do you have any questions about this CraneWIN? Cranes on chassis?
Sir, I have one question with you, sir. Suppose, sir, if we need to increase the wheelbase or we need to increase the rear overhang, as we have just encountered one case where we have increased rear overhang by 90% of the wheelbase, and we need to check the stability criteria of that truck mounted crane along with body with the help of this software. Is it possible to do alteration to check out that what is the behavior of that vehicle?
I'm not sure if I really understood what you meant now, but we have here, for example, now when we have this body on, we have a rear overhang of 2200. That is 49% of the wheelbase. We can increase it, and we can see automatically how big the wheelbase is comparing to the wheelbase. We can see about 55% now, and we increase it, now we have 57% wheelbase.
Suppose, sir, if it is 3800 is the wheelbase of the vehicle, and we make that rear overhang by 2100, yeah, 2500. Oh, then can we see the vehicle behavior chart, that the chart which you have shown for the stability criteria, that how it looks like and how it change?
Yeah, the rear overhang doesn't affect on the stability more than what the load and the weight of the body will do. Because in this stability calculation, we are calculating with an empty vehicle, no weight. So we don't calculate with any load on it. So,
Okay.
but here we have the stability point will come in the middle of the rear axle bogie at the outer point. We have this stability line showing where the stability lines will go. But
It means
the length of the body is not affecting directly on the stability more than that the center of gravity of the body will move to the rear.
okay.
Yeah.
It is having all kind of that information regarding the type of truck mounted crane, that all whosoever is the manufacturer of this truck mounted crane, their complete product detail is available in this software, or there are some partial details, or we need to put the details in this software while we need to do the designing of this truck mounted crane enrolled with truck?
For cranes, you don't need to put any data. Everything is in the program. And these comes directly from the crane manufacturer. And everything is here. You don't need to change anything. You just select where you want to have the crane. So you select the position. But all the data for the crane is already in the program, in the database that you will get with the program. We have the crane weight, we have the mounting parts weight, we have support legs weight. We have also, when we jump to CraneWIN, we can see more information. We have here the lifting capacity. This is also directly in the database program. we have the maximum outreach, weight of the crane and center of gravity of the crane at max outreach, and so on. So the software includes all this data. So you don't need to find this anywhere, because normally this data is something that you don't find in brochures or the normal technical documentation that you will get from the manufacturers.
So,
But CraneWin, together with TrailerWIN, is the most used software among crane mounting companies, and many manufacturers have our software package as the standard for all the dealers. So they require that they use TrailerWIN, FrameWin in their daily work to do the calculations.
okay.
Yep. Do we have any other questions regarding this? I can show you some special features quickly. For example, we can now...
Any of the team member having any of the question regarding this trailer and this truck mounted crane can ask directly. So if any of the question is there, please can we ask?
Yep.
Sir, there is a Simitesh, sir, is there? Sir, please ask, sir.
Yes. So crane is having some extra seat and all. They are having some picking, what you call that, bucket and everything. So is that we can include those also in this crane and can calculate how much will be the body length and everything. Means it is considering that also, means we can add a rider, means controller seat also, or some crane accessories like picking some.
You mean it's a simulation with the payload?
Not with payload, the body length or how much width that will take, how much that will be changed. We have a data of this one also, means in our software, means all accessories of crane and everything.
Are you referring to attachments?
He's
Yes.
saying about the cage which is connected to crane.
Yeah, attachments.
Aerial level platform kind of thing. A human person can stand or sit there and do work. That's what Mitesh is saying. Cage.
Yes.
In CraneWin, we are calculating with the maximum lifting capacity what the manufacturer is given for the crane. And we can, of course, here change this lifting capacity and calculate with other. We want to lift only 700 kilogram, or if we want to lift 900, calculate stability for that. The attachment that you put on the crane, like some grabs or something like that, they are part of this lifting capacity. So they will reduce what you can put in the grabs when you are having, for example, 150 kilogram load on the grabs. But what is in this lifting capacity is including both equipment that is on the crane and also the load that you can take.
Okay, sir. And means, is there any contract between you and chassis manufacturer that whatever change they will do, it will reflect in your software? Means they have to give you. Means many times in India, what is happening? There are so many variants in chassis, and they are keep on updating those. So, do you have any contract with OEMs that you will give us the data first, and then after means before entering into market? Is that? It's just a question.
Yeah. For some manufacturers, we get data very quickly. They are very keen in updating everything. But for some manufacturers, we need to find the data ourselves many times we can get also information from our user that it's a new model on the market, and then we get the data when we have the information about it. But we don't automatically get for all manufacturers, so that is something that we work on every day, on daily basis. We try to find out what is coming out, new models on different markets. And in this, our dealers are a very good help because they know what is happening on their market area, because it's looking so different in different parts of the world. And also the chassis are different depending on for which market they are made. So a chassis for Finland isn't looking the same as a chassis for India or for USA.
Yeah.
So, but
yeah, for India market, Smitesh, we are working on the chassis data. We have a lot of connect with OEMs directly. So we will be filtering the data as per the requirement of the software, and then we will be sending to Mr. Rollon, and hopefully very quickly we'll get updated all the BS6 chassis. Almost 80% will get covered into the update.
Roland, I have one question about this TrailerWIN. See, the TrailerWIN, it is limited to only knuckle broom kind of cranes or heavy duty trucks like skylift or aerial level platforms. Normally in Finland, Brantos they build. Those kind of trucks also 60 meters, 50 meters. That same software we can apply and see.
Yeah. There is a possibility to use the TrailerWIN software also for skylifts and those type. But there is one thing that you need to know, and when we are talking about stability for skylifts, we also need to make calculation for wind forces, and that is something that we don't have in the program. But we have, for example, oil and steel in the program, and for that one, I will remove the crane here, and then we'll jump into TrailerWIN. Then we can calculate stability also for this type of installation. But these are very special, and you need to calculate what the wind force will be when you have it in the highest position. So that need to be added to the moment of the crane or the lifting capacity.
Yeah, right.
But it can also be for, it doesn't have to be knuckle boom cranes. We have all type of different cranes in this list. Also very big Erkin, Hydrocon, and those very big cranes. And these are up to 150 ton, for example. I will remove the oil and steel, so we don't have them double. And then move it forward.
The slide's not changing, so that's right.
It will come. Great.
Yeah, now it will take. Okay, so now we have a very big Erkin crane on this chassis, and we can do stability calculations on this also. And here we have a crane that have 3 stabilizer legs. We have at front, rear of the rear wheels, and then we have also extra behind
the chassis.
Yeah, so a very big crane.
It means it can help us to decide that the chassis which we are using is made for that application for which we are planning it to buy, or we should go for some other chassis as per application base. It can help us to understand that feature also, so right?
Yes, you can, because this combination of TrailerWIN and TrailerWIN give you all the information that you need. For example, here you can see that this will be way too heavy for this chassis. even if this crane is quite stable as it is, and the chassis is more like a load only. All the stability is already built in the chassis of the crane. But you can't drive with this because it will be 27 ton on the rear axle, so it will be too heavy. The total weight of it will be 33 ton. So it doesn't only show you the stability chart and how the stability will look. It also will show you if the chassis is big enough to carry it and if it will be legal on the road. Yeah. Did we have more questions about TrailerWIN and TrailerWIN? Yes, here we have one.
Kanchi sir, can you ask directly, sir? There is one question from arising from Kanchi sir. Sir, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Roland and Mr. Prabhakar sir.
Yes, please.
The customers are demanding in a modular type of vehicles like cabin, length of the vehicle, width and height, all these things. In this situation, and even in the vehicles like small vehicles and as well as bigger vehicles, to combine these dimensions and the requirement of the customer, the software will help us.
Yes, you can see all the dimensions directly, and you can also add more own dimensions to the picture if you want to have on the drawing. For example, I can add some vertical dimension for height if that is required. Then I can just by the mouse select lower point and higher point and where I want to have the measure line. So then we can do the measuring directly on the screen and we can see what it will be. And this will be also on the outprint when we are printing this calculation. So that will help you when you are doing the legislation for the vehicle. And you get all the measures that you need to have there. And you can also make modifications to more measure that is not automatically in the program if needed. Yes. Did we have more questions?
Yes, sir. Nagaraj sir is there. Sir, please ask, sir.
Yes, Mr. Roland, do we also have a hydraulic modular simulation in this software?
Sorry, no, I didn't understand.
Hydraulic suspension.
Hydraulic suspension.
Suspension type is not directly in the software. It's nothing that we are calculating in the TrailerWIN software. Basically, it doesn't have any difference between if we have a hydraulic, if we have air suspension, or if we have spring suspension, for these calculations that we are doing here. But if you are looking, for example, what will happen if we have heavier first axle and a lighter rear axle, that is something that we can define in the program. We have here the max allowed weight for the first bogie axle and for the rear. And we can change this. And then the program will calculate the center of gravity of the bogie and the load will be calculated in a different load point. The center of gravity for the bogie.
My point was, for example, if I have 8 axles in a trailer, full trailer, 8 axles, and if I want to check the simulation on the corner win, so with the different angles of each axle, with the steerable axles.
Sorry. Yes, I now understand what you mean.
Yeah.
Limited axle, or we can jump into economy now. So I select here a standard combination. We have some combination with all steer axle. For example, we can take 2-axle truck and a 3-axle semi-trailer with all axles steered. When we look in the data for this vehicle, we have possibility to adjust the steering geometry for this. And that can be that we give maximum angle when we have the truck in 90-degree position to the trailer. We can give a distance to the steering point as a fixed value, or then we can type in a table relation between angle on the fifth wheel and angle on the trailer axle. And this way we can define curves that will fill the criteria for our trailer. Then when we do simulations, program is calculating with this turning geometry for the steering. So this possibility is in CornerWIN. These three different versions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Okay. Do you have more questions?
Roland, I have one question not related to CraneWIN or TruckWIN. See, normally tippers and the tankers which carry maybe special application fluids, cryogenic fuels or alkaline fuel. So the structure is completely different, superstructure. Tankers which are, because they are dynamically very imbalanced, fluids move here and there. So the software in TrailerWIN, you have any software for that? The tankers which carry fluids for designing tankers?
Tankers with fluid is a little bit special. I will remove the crane here and we will select another body type. I will select here a tank. What TrailerWIN normally do is calculate the load as one single load point, and it will come in the half of the body length. We can of course move the load point here as we want, but many times these are divided into different smaller containers.
Yeah, chambers you mean in between?
Yeah.
To avoid the fluid surging here and there.
Yeah. What we can do is when we go in the load window, we can select to have many different loads, and we can, by using boxes, divide the container into many small loads instead. We can define the size of each container or each part of the body, the load parts, and give also weight for each one of these. This has 3,500 as beginning, and then we adjust it with the mouse, drag it higher, and then we put one more. For example, here I have now like 3 parts of the container, and the program is calculating then with 3 separate part loads instead of one single load, and we can see the weight there. We can also here now, if we want to calculate what happens if we only have 100 kilo on the first part, so it's almost empty. How will it look like in the weight calculation then? What will be the rear axle and front axle weight? Or the other way, if we want to have maximum on the front and we have almost empty rear container. then we can see that the weight share will give quite high front axle weight. So this can be calculated in TrailerWIN.
It's possible in TrailerWIN.
Yes, this is possible in TrailerWIN. This is just by choosing different type of loads, and this can be used for all type of bodies. It's not only for the tankers. It can be used for open bodies, for box bodies, and every type of transport. Okay, so this was a presentation of what the software mainly can do. There is a lot of more, but I think it will be too much to go through everything in one webinar.
Yeah, correct.
But I hope that you have got some picture of what TrailerWIN is and what our software can do. And I can also recommend to go to our homepage, TrailerWIN.com.
Yes.
So here you can find also information about all our software, description, what it can do. We have some brochures, we have manual, we have also newsletter, and here is also a training manual and some outprint examples. So from this you can get more information, and this is for all our programs. And of course, you can also find here information about our dealers, AutoApps Engineering. So here you have the phone number, email address, and web address, so you know who you can contact regarding the software. Our software is as I said in the beginning, it's used by many manufacturers of both trucks and cranes and equipment, and it has over the years become one of the most common software used for designing trucks and trailers and for making all documents needed for legislation.
So basically in Europe, this software is largely very much popular, and it is highly regarded that the reports and calculation coming out from the TrailerWIN software are directly presentable to regional authorities like RTOs. So yes. This is highly reliable software. The kind of time span last 40 years, the application has been built up point by point, pile by pile. So it has been very good evolution of the software and very, very reliable. I have been using myself since my HEVA days, almost 2006. I'm using this software, and here still, I mean, there is a lot to learn into that. So my request to all of users that we will be connecting to mail to everyone one-to-one, whosoever is here. And whatever your questions, please write to us. So what we will do is, we will group those questions particular to the application, and we'll take Mr. Roland time when there is a group of questions. So one application, maybe half an hour session, we will take it, so all the queries can get solved there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And with the license that you buy for TrailerWIN, you will also get free of charge support from our team.
Yeah.
So you can contact AutoApps or also us directly if you have some technical questions and have some problems, how you can do calculations and so on.
Yeah. Right.
Mr. Kanchi has some questions.
Hello.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mr. Kanchi.
Sir, regarding the rear lifting arrangements, is available in this software?
You mean to say tail lift?
Yeah, not trailer, box type containers like this.
Box type container, yes, it is available. And the
trolley type can lift using the tail door, and same can be rolled out to the end of the train.
Yes, there are tail lift available. So basically, like crane, all the tail lift options are available in the software. And there is a tail lift from Hiva, tail lift from Palfinger, tail lift from all other European manufacturers is available. And they are there as an inbuilt library over there. So we need to only select. You can see on the screen, Mr. Roland is showing.
Yes, here you can see the different manufacturers' tail lifts. And these databases that I have been showing you now today, everything will come the same in your program when you buy it. So you will have the full database.
Sir, if we want to see that working of the tail lift, as you have shown earlier, can we see it in the form of simulation also? Or suppose we have put some load on that and we want to do a simulation. Can this software can help us to do that simulation, sir? On tail lift, sir?
On tail lift, with TrailerWIN, you will get automatically this LifterWIN program. And this LifterWIN program, what it does is that you can select the mounting place for the tail lift. So then you can see how it should be mounted on the body to have the movement, free movement. You can also see here what you need to cut out on the rear end of the crane to have space for the arms coming to the lifting plate. So this is what you can do. Load calculation you can't automatically do in this software, but they have a maximum load that you can put on it. That is defined by the manufacturer.
And any kind of column lifter is inbuilt in it. The tail lift is okay, and if we go for column lift, sir.
Hollandia, Mr. Roland, there are two types of lift. One is the Caesar type, which we have shown earlier, and other one is directly mounting on the side walls of the body, and it only goes vertical up and down direction. So that is, I think Hollandia we have that column lift.
Yeah, I have a feeling that this is also in the program.
Yeah, it is there.
We look in the Hollandia. Do you remember what the name was for this model?
No, I don't remember the model name, but I think it is there.
It should be in this group, but
yeah. You need to go by
this one.
Yeah, this one, correct.
This one, yep.
Yeah. So this
is that we have also here.
Right.
And we have also, when we are looking in this devices menu, and we have many different type of, we have grabs here for timber cranes. We have all kind of accessories for cranes, for example, Hiva accessories. We have spare tire, ramps, spoilers. This can be added to what cabin we want. So we have a lot of different equipment here, and everything of this can be added to the calculation, and it will be also affecting the weight of the chassis.
Yes. Sir, one more question, sir. Sir, as we are using, as the lift appears in the red in color, if we want to get some structure requirement, like what kind of structure it is having, like what kind of pipe is there, what is the minimum YST of that pipe, can we get that information also from the software, or we have to choose by own, sir?
In this software, what we have is the frame win, which is for the subframe calculation of any superstructure, either it is for hook loader or it is for the crane. So normally these two applications are there where we have a combined strength of chassis and the frame together to look into the applications. But as far as, so that frame bin is available here and all analytical calculation can be done. You can see on the screen.
Yeah, and this is for calculating subframes for both cranes and tailgate lifters. So we have a chassis frame. We can select from different manufacturers different types of frames that is available, and we can build subframe with different types of beams, different sizes. We can also have different materials subframe, and we can add more beams to this. And then if we have a crane on the chassis, it will take, for example, here we get the data from the last crane that we had selected here, the Erkin crane. It's a very huge one. And we can see here the safety factor on the subframe and on the chassis frame. This is not a very good example because the Erkin crane has its own subframe, so we are basically here trying to build a subframe for the Erkin crane. But this program can also be used for tailgate lifters, and we want to calculate subframe for the tailgate lifter. Here we can then enter any kind of load that we want to calculate with. Then we can get safety factor for subframe and chassis frame. And in this case, we have a very huge subframe for a small tailgate lifter, so that's why it's going for big values.
Sir, by using this frame bin, can we define that the structure which we are using in making the subframe is in having that overload it is heavy weighted, underweighted. It can help us to get that value in few clicks, sir.
Yes, there is a factor of safety calculated here based on the subframe what we select, and that factor of safety we can see what is the factor of safety we need, 1.2, 1.3, or in case of heavy duty cycles it can be increased to 2 also. Accordingly we can select the structure, so it will give you the calculation that for heavy load what is the safety sector if you want to follow. If the client has given that we need this much of safety sector, so that can be calculated well here. Absolutely.
And so from where this safety factor come, either from the OEM or from the manufacturer or some?
No, factor of safety is basically the stress value which comes from the load and which is stress value which the material has its own strength. So that is the basic calculation ratio of that. So in few cases, if there is a requirement for crane, a special application, a special factor of safety from the client, that can be addressed well here. Accordingly, you can redefine the section, you can define the material, everything can be included here.
Okay, yep.
Am I right, Mr. Ron?
Yes, exactly. And it's also depending when we are looking at the safety factor, depending on what type of crane we have, and you have possibility to define the this menu. We can see here the crane lift velocity. we can adjust what we want to have dynamic coefficients, and the safety factor for the subframe and the chassis frame. And when we are working with cranes, we can also use this EN 12999 standard, where we then can select what type of load combination, if it's load from one function or for exceptional load for all functions, when you are lifting and lowering from all functions at the same time, and what type of spool valve, it's on-off normal spool valve or the latest automatic speed control. And when we are defining with this new standard, we can use safety factor of 1.1. So it will give us very, very reliable values of it.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I think we have been about 2.5 hours now looking at this. So I think everyone is feeling maybe a little bit tired.
Sir, it's how fast time run up. I can't see. I think that it's only a 15 to 20 minutes we are talking about, but it's really very interesting to see such kind of things available in the market, and it's really one of the very nice ones, sir. For that wind one, and that it is also something new which can be added, sir. I have just, it's a demand for the future, sir. Yeah, sir.
Yeah.
Kanchi sir, any questions, sir?
Yes, sir. Nice presentation. It requires a lot of learning from this presentation. It can be applied anywhere in our process itself, all products. That will be very great for us to learn in this. Thanks to Mr. Roland and Prabhakar for this great initiation.
Thank you very much. All people, very much thank you from me. And it is a very good time you have spared to us for learning this, and probably this is one of the best software I have found for the learning, at least in automotive applications across. So really I'm fan of it. So any questions, further questions, we are available, and we will be connecting everyone one-to-one with a mail. So any questions related to, please go through the website and see all the modules, whichever you suits. And if there are any questions, then we can club the questions, and application by application, we can take Mr. Roland help to understand better, so that it is not too long. But now next onwards, we will have an application-wise presentation for shorter time.
Yes. Thank you also from my side. It was nice to see that so many people connected here.
Yeah, right. And with my experience too so far on this application front, if I have to make a GA drawing for any tipper or something, it is almost minimum 8 hours job, and hand calculation, lot of things to do. But with this softwares, it is only 20 to 25 minutes, maximum half an hour job to prepare the GA drawing and have all the calculation in front of you. So it is basically made for, like, salesman is going to the customer place, and there he himself is doing running the software and see according to his application, showing the load calculation there, live load calculations and stability calculation. So this is the beauty of this software, and I found personally is very, very much useful for us.
We are having Bharat sir also with us, sir. He is one of your very old friend. Bharat sir. So
thank you, sir. Thank you, Piyush. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
so much.
Mr. Roland.
Sir.
Thank you, Mr. Piyush, and thank you, Mr. Prabhakar, for giving
us
the opportunity to join for the meeting. We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Right, sir. Please.
Thank you.
Thank you all.